Hey. It's good to be back on here, and I got a lot of content that I want to kind of touch on. A few different points that I want to start making in the beginning of this, and we'll kind of transition into various different topics. And one in particular that I want to talk about was kind of like self-reflection. I think that's a big part of my life. I think that in the beginning, like I never really looked at myself. I was trying to make sense of all this, what we're doing in the world, how we're living, and all through all this. And then my problem was I'm trying to make sense through it, and through it I couldn't make any sense of it. Could pick all these different attachments and different concepts. Excuse me, that I picked up through my years and living in society, and I just come to find out that that really never was who I was. I took a path of spirituality, and I took plant medicine. I've had experiences with various different psychedelics, LSD, psilocybin, DMT, acacia, Syrian rue mixed together. I've had various amounts of experiences with different things. In the beginning, I am actually grateful because I was big into like the EDM scene. I was big into the Grateful Dead, which I'm no longer into. I'm no longer into that scene or anything like that. But I'm extremely grateful that scene opened me up to psychedelics. And I was really able to kind of get a taste, I guess, of what you would say of what psychedelics really were and how they worked. I put them down for such a long time, and I picked them up. I used them very recreationally, in the sense where I was just using them to go to shows and party and have a good time. And then I finally got to a point in my life where the self-reflection was needed, but I needed some assistance, more or less, to go deeper within myself, and that's where the medicine really opened me up completely. And the more I went into the process of plant medicine, I was really able to start seeing myself for who I was. Disregard all this other shit that I thought made me who I was, or connected me to myself. A lot of it just wasn't, and I'm extremely grateful that I was able to really find the medicine, really, because for so long I didn't really know what to do. I didn't even know who I was. Put it to you this way. My boy Skizzy, shout out to him. He sent me this little quote, and it's like it's hard to. What do the quotes say? I'll read it here because it's important for me to read this, because it actually opened me up to another pathway here. And Skizzy sent me a thing, and it said, "It's hard to be yourself if you don't even know who you are," and that's exactly it. For years, I lied, made up stuff. I was very dishonest, deceitful, stole from my parents. I mean, all these different things that I did in the process of growing up, in hopes to find myself, and that's where I didn't know who I was. So I couldn't. I wasn't able to find who I was, and I think that through the process of taking plant medicine, also going to therapy, I think that's extremely important. I think that, like, you have to pair. I believe you should, if you're going to take medicine, you should pair it with a coach. In particular, that's what I did. I did it, and I'm still actually working with him now. Pairing it with a life coach that we work with my astrology sign, so we find what my sign means and how it's unique to myself, and that allowed me to finally, like, start connecting deeper into myself. And the more I started to connect deeper into myself, the more I started to question even more of what the hell was going on. It just started to not make sense, and it doesn't make sense. It's not supposed to. Once I stopped fighting that element, I was able to start thriving and seeing my life for what it is, and what strengths I have, what weaknesses I might have. It's all been a very powerful sort of life experiences that I've been gaining as I've gone through this. And that's a beautiful part of it, is because it's just so much to discover about ourselves, but we're so blocked off from it. And that's what I realized, was so blocked off from myself for so many years. Like I said, I had acquired all these attachments and concepts that I believed made me who I thought I was, and it never was that. And I'm extremely grateful that, like, as I got into the medicine, as I started working with Nick, as I started doing all these things, the world started to open up. I started to open up. We started unraveling layers. That's what we have to do. I believe. I think that we whether you take plant medicine or not, I still think a coach or a therapy is great. If you want assistance, it's there. If you seek it, you'll find it, and you'll be able to find what it is that you're looking for through it. And we have to start unpacking these layers, because that's what's blocking us off from who we are. Because I look back to when I was a kid, and it's almost as if I'm going. Not that I'm going back to being a kid, because I've changed since I was then. But when I was a kid, my heart was so open, my mind was so open to all these different things and whatnot. And unfortunately, like, the matrix that we live in will just prey on that, and you'll start to adopt all these attachments and adapt all these concepts that further block us off and desensitizes us from our emotions and our spirit. And I believe that is the most big. That's the biggest component that I had gained through the medicine was unraveling the layers. What's not for me anymore, right? Like, example, the Grateful Dead. I love, what they've done. I think that, like, they just created what they created, and I think that's what enticed me into it. And now, obviously, the scene doesn't entice me anymore. I'm not into the EDM scene. I'm not into the Dead. Even I used to go to Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, and I'm actually grateful for that too, because it's like this. I wouldn't be here doing this if I hadn't gone through Alcoholics Anonymous to find some sort of self-reflection. From time to time, I will still pick up the book and we'll read through some of the things that Bill W. talks about, and I think that a lot of what Bill W. is talking about makes sense, and that's that catalysted all of this, and all the Dead scene and AA and all these things that I had went through had catalysted my evolution. And I think that when I look back onto what my life, was and what it is now, I'm able to see how it all played its part, and I was guided through by God and by the Most High, and I believe that I can tap into the Most High through myself. So I am able to now really connect with myself, and I continue to keep doing the work. I continue to keep working with medicine. I haven't stopped. I took quite some time of a break. And I, at the first time around when I went into the process of medicine, like, I really, like, I bypassed a lot. Because you're getting so much knowledge, so much divine knowledge you're getting hit with, and it's easy to bypass all the trauma that you're going through. So, and eventually, then now I went back to some of the things, some of those old behaviors, some of those old patterns, some of those old thoughts. I went back to all that, and it got very dark this time quickly. And my thing I've come to understand is, if I'm not doing this work, if I'm not actively building my life and I'm actively, like, building on spirit, like, and tapping into my emotions and what's going on with me, it creeps on me. That's how I think of it. That darkness that I've gone through with the pornography, cocaine, strippers, prostitutes, all of it, man. Eating a lot of food, and I still like food. I'm building a better relationship with it finally. It will creep on me. It will start to creep and creep and creep and creep, and then it'll clamp on me because it's that powerful. I didn't even realize how fucking powerful this shit can be if I'm not constantly working on myself. And it's more than plant medicine. I love the medicine. Like, I think that it's something for myself that has given me a better understanding of my human condition. So I'm grateful for that. But I have to do other things. I have to also, I practice martial arts. I practice yoga. I work with the coach. I connect with my family. I connect with, different people and hear what they have to. So it's a lot. It's work that you have to do in order for me to be living this lifestyle, realistically. And the work pays off when you really start to see just the benefits of staying in the process of healing, keeping all my energy here. All right, I've been able to keep the energy all right here, all within me. And that's what I struggle with, because I go outside of myself. I'm looking for something outside of myself in hopes that it's going to give me a deeper connection with myself. But it's not, if I just fixated on Muay Thai, it's not going to do that. It'll help, but it's not going to. And I did that when I first, was going through the whole AA. When I was in AA, I just worked out all the time, and I thought that was enough. But then, okay, yeah, I'm working out, but I'm watching a lot of pornography, and I'm not really taking care of my spirit. So there's different elements to add to this pool of what's the word I'm looking for? The pool of health and wellness and spirituality. I started juice fasting, taking these Purium products, which I'll talk about too, also, because they're fucking amazing products. So I started doing that also. I eat a plant-based diet. I stopped ejaculating, so I retain my sperm, so that I have more energy, so that I have more chi and more life force to fuel me realistically. That's what it is. It's just the seed is the chi. It's just, that's what I've been tapping into that. Because with that, now I can take that, and I can now put that and create different things and do different things in my life, and just keep creating all these different sort of things that make me feel whole and make me feel connected to myself. Through my retention of semen. I think that was I struggle with that because I watch pornography. I masturbated, and I was constantly releasing it all the time. Now I could see the glow in my face. I could see the definition more in my muscle, which is great. I think that's something that for so long I worked out just to look good, and now it's naturally just happening, and just because I'm exercising a lot, and I'm practicing yoga, and now I'm gonna start lifting weights with this girl's boyfriend at my work who's a bodybuilder, and I want to add that in too. So it's all about synchronized thinking. If I just were to sit into one box, if I was just to do plant medicine, if I was just to do yoga, if I was just to do one fucking thing, if I was just to work with Nick, then I wouldn't be getting the overall benefits of all these different things in that pool combined as one, to be able to now keep going into myself. And I think that's something that I never really understood that until really, really, really recently. Until like a month and a half ago. You know what I mean? So it's like I was, I couldn't seem to really. I was so sucked into what was going on outside of myself, and I was so plugged into the matrix. I finally had to unplug. I unplugged, but then there's more to it than that. I can't just unplug. So if I unplug from the matrix and then don't do anything, then I'm gonna get sucked back into it eventually. So I think that I unplugged, but then I went deeper into myself, and that's where the pool of all these activities and the pool of all this spiritual health and wellness and juice cleansing, stuff like that. Now that I started, putting it all together, I'm now really able to see more. I could see beyond what I can already see, and I think that's what I think we all should strive for, is to see beyond what we already can see. Because if we close off, then it's like we're never going to evolve. You know what I mean? If I have everything that there is to know about martial arts, then Tom won't be able to teach me how to do a leg kick. Hillary won't teach me how to teep, because I already know how to teep. Or I think I know how to teep. So it's or if I'm in Courtney's class and she's aligning my body, she's aligning my spine, she's aligning me, she's helping align me to put me in a better center of alignment so that I can get deeper into that pose. If I just didn't listen to Courtney, say I've done yoga for 3 years, I know what to do, or if Laura or any of them that have taught me where they have helped me get this far, if I wasn't listening to them, if I knew what I already was to know, then I wouldn't be able to continue to keep evolving. And that's where, even for me, I struggled with that in the beginning, because it's like I just knew everything there was to know about whatever it was that I may have thought, and I came to find out, that fortunately, that I didn't know everything there was to know. And that's where I was able to now really start putting the pieces together, and I was able to keep unraveling and putting the pieces of my true self together, and that is where I see the massive change in my life. And I get so fired up about it because we're up on the real shit, like that's the only way to put it. It's just like I believe, this is just what I think, that in terms of like connecting with the self-reflection, that's the real shit. That's what I'm trying to say. And however you do it is however you do it. Like I said, you don't have to take plant medicine. You can go about it in any other way. You can take what works for you, and you can synchronize all these different things that have worked for you to allow yourself to go deeper within yourself. I think that, again, like by being a student and by listening and being willing and open and honest, that's where I go back to AA. That rings true forever. Honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness, because they're with these three, we're well on our way. I agree with that 100%. You're able to really stay within that, and you're able to really use all three of those methods to, again, now start understanding yourself more. What's going on with me? What's going on with how I feel and my emotions? And with that, it's infinite. It just keep what can happen out of all that is infinite. It just, if you stay within being honest with yourself and being open to new things and being willing to try whatever it is. You try, you don't like it, you try something else. You just play with the chemistry with it all, and you're able to really figure out what it is that works for you. And I'm grateful, because it's like I've really been able to embark on such a path. I started it, you know what I mean, over the summertime, and I bypassed a lot. And now this time, I'm really working to integrate what I've learned from the medicine and what I'm learning from Nick, what I'm learning from martial arts, what I'm learning from yoga. I'm integrating all this into my life. I didn't do that last time, and that's why the darkness crept on me, and it clamped on me finally. And then I was sucked into it for a little bit, and I was able to rise again. And I think that it's just a constant cycle for me of just death and rebirth and death and rebirth. Just in the sense of like, old ideas, old ways of thinking die out, and then new ideas born themselves. Or just it's a constant sort of cycle for me. And I realize that I don't have to go all the way. I don't have to lower my vibration so that darkness can cramp. Because that's what, for me, that's what it is. It's about the vibration. If I raise the vibration, pornography doesn't sound tempting at all. It doesn't sound like something I want to go and do. I don't want to look at OnlyFans. And like I said, I had no disrespect to whoever's, or I don't want to talk bad about nobody who's doing it. Like, if that's working for you, that's working for you. And if you're happy with it, then that's that's what it is. You know what I mean? But for me, it's not something that's going to continue to keep raising my vibration. It's not something that's going to allow me to eventually now be able to be open and honest with a woman and not have the intention of that dark cloud around me that you bring now to a woman, and they can feel it, you know. So it's like that's where for me I'm really able to start seeing the spiritual evolution in my life. I'm more connected with what it is that I have going on in my life, with my schoolwork, with my work. Over there at the Muay Thai studio and in the yoga studio, which it's one studio, so it's like I can literally go do Muay Thai, and then I can just fly over, and then I could just write 6 feet over that way, and then now I'm in the yoga studio. So it's like moving in with my sister, and then her and I, you know, we're different, but we connect. My sister, and I love her, and I want to, you know, see her do what my sister wants to do, what makes her happy, and what she wants. Because we all within us have the tools to make whatever life it is that we want to make. So that's like just a lot of different learnings this week about myself, and all that's encompasses what makes me who I am at the soul level. And that's why the more you open up to who you are, people aren't gonna really like. Some people are like, you know, I went through the whole, you know, AA thing, and, you know, some people were like, he's fake and he's this and he's that. I made a status where it was purely emotional. There was a lot of emotions and ego in that status, but, you know, like I people call me fake. They call me whatever names they're gonna call me, and it's. That's what's going to happen. It's just people are just not going to want to... The more I go into this, the more people are going to be like, oh, he's whatever. He's nuts, or he's whatever. Because I don't believe in mostly all of it, to tell you the truth. Whatever's coming from the Matrix, the mainstream corporate elitist media, I don't believe any of it. I just don't. I don't believe in a state. I don't believe in none of that. Nope. I don't think that we as a civilization are going to advance. And actually, the global civilization is deteriorating. Why the fucking supply chains are down, bro? Why do you think they're down? Because we're all breaking down, man. Anthony told me that. I didn't make that up. Anthony was the one who told me that. And I thought of it, and I'm like, wow, that's deep, because it's true. We as a civilization, as a society, and as humanity are breaking down. So the supply chains are going to break down, and we're going to see empty shelves. We're going to see things, prices go up. We're going to see, and that's more because of the state and their reckless spending over decades. I mean, it's not just the coronavirus that the coronavirus pandemic that sparked the inflation. They've been doing it for years. They've been war after spending money, war, whatever. Lacing up their cronies. It's all they're interested in. They're interested in stealing my money to give it to Amazon and Google and Apple and to all do fucking shit in China anyways. All make all their products in China anyways. So it's like, I really just don't see how this is as we go into this, how this is gonna give us the liberty. How is it going to give us the freedom? Look, man, if you want to go live out in the woods and start a commune, and you have resources to do that, and you don't need it, go and do it. I don't see why. What the hell? Why am I fighting you? Right? Pay taxes and do all this because it's people. It wants to put me up. The whole state wants to put all of us under one umbrella, right? It just doesn't make any sense. None of us really. We all think differently, so why would you put us all under one umbrella and say, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do it for you. We're going to do this for you. We're going to get all these vaccines to you. What if I don't fucking agree with it? What if he doesn't agree with it? What if my coworkers, some of them don't agree with it? So how are you going to steal from all of us and then say you're going to do all this? It's one. It's not. It's too big of a scale. We are one, yes, but the state wants to use that saying to be able to get money so that they can subsidize what it is that they want, and then claim we're under the umbrella as we're one. I don't think most people really agree with the massive expansions of these multinational corporations like Amazon, and if they did it by themselves, I'm not going to be mad. I'm not. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not the kind of dude that's going to be like, oh, Jeff Bezos has all this money. He's a dirtbag. I mean, I don't want to even call him a dirtbag, but he's used the power. He's used the government to expand his company. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's correct. I don't think there's nothing about that I agree with. If he did that by himself in an open market, in an open plane without any subsidies and getting contracts from the state, then I'd be fine with it. He can do what he did. That's fine if he could do that. But he didn't. He used the power of the government. He used the pandemic to, while everybody else had to get shut down, this man could be able to operate his business with little to no regulation. I don't agree with that. Nor is that capitalism either. I know everybody hates a lot. Not everybody, but I know a lot of people I see being like, it's capitalism. It's capital. I mean, this is where I disagree with Russell Brand a lot, and that's why I would love to talk to him, because it's because we can disagree and we'll find where we agree. Because Russ and I are on a very similar page. He doesn't like capitalism. And people say we haven't had necessarily a true free market. I don't even know how long. The market, because here's two things, right? I could be a capitalist and lace my pockets the hell up, but I could still give to my community. I could still help to my community. It's not all just greed and exploit people. Yeah, now it's happening because you have the state, and then you have the politicians. Well, you have the state. We have the state and the politicians are the same thing, really. And then you have these companies that are they're using the government to get these contracts and to stifle off the competition through different regulations, regulatory laws, and such. So if you didn't have that, then we can trade whatever we want to trade. And it doesn't have to be about money. That's where I'm a little... This is where I start to really think about it, because I'm like, okay, we really don't... It doesn't all have to be about money. I don't think money is an awful thing. I truly don't. I think the way it's being used, especially in the society that we live in, it's becoming more and more. We need more. You need to make as much as you can for yourself. It's all very individualistic in that regard. And yes, you have to be an individual, and yeah, you do have to take care of what it is that you have to take. But we don't need more and more and more. You just don't need that. I for myself, anyways. I don't know how other people feel, but I would love to hear more about what other people feel about that. But we don't need all this stuff to consume. We don't need all this stuff to buy. So, with money can be utilized. If I have a product, let's say you have money, and then you have maybe something else, another good or a service that I might want, then we can trade for that. I don't see the problem with that. I don't understand where that would be detrimental to, because it becomes detrimental because now you have the state, which is the gatekeeper, which wants their cut out of it. They're the same thing as the Italians, the Italian gangsters, more or less, not the Italian people, because they are great people. The La Cosa Nostras of the world, the Bonanos and the Gambinos. It's the same thing. You're just paying them for protection. That's it. That's why they have it's all set up the way that the Italians said. That's why they went after them. You think they cared about? No, they went after the Italians because the Italian mafia had a monopoly, and they wanted to now be the monopoly. It's just another form of the mob, anyways. The state. So when you really look at what it's doing to civilization as our civilization, more or less, I want to talk about America first, and then we can talk about my country behind me, Kenya. What it's doing to people is, it's clamping down on people. It's not. There's no room to really just do what you have to really like. There's no room really to get away from them. It's just they're just in every aspect of everything. We need to tax your paycheck, then we got to tax what you buy, then we got to tax the gas, then we got to. It's ridiculous. Where's this money? That's what I want to know. Where the hell's it going? I'm interested to, and I know a lot of where it's going. Just look at Rand Paul. I'll bring it up when I can find out how to bring on stuff on here. I'll bring up his report because he's the only one that really talks about any of that within the government, anyways. And obviously he's in the government, so I mean, I wouldn't say he's an ally, but I would also say he's more or less just trying to open people up to like spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on pigeons playing a slot machine. That's ridiculous. Like what is that for? I don't. It's money laundering. It's the only thing I can come up with. So I think that when we look at how we can restructure the society, that's where I believe anarchism across the. For me, it's anarchism across the board. A free and voluntary society, not a chaotic, lawless society. It's not even what anarchism is. I do get a little frustrated sometimes on the media. They're like, because I have to watch some of it, and just to hear what they're saying, because I can't just sit in my own bubble. And they talk about, especially some of the riots that happened last year, all the anarchy. That's not anarchy. That's lawlessness. That's chaos. It's not anarchy. I believe in a free and voluntary society where people can really do whatever it is that they want to do. So I find out. I think that. Sorry, I was getting a phone call, so I have to deal with that later. I find it. Woo!